Good evening, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We do have a special guest this evening, but first, this interview is a paid promotional segment. The information discussed in this interview is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice, investment advice, or a recommendation to buy or sell any securities. Now that we got that out of the way, let me introduce our special guest. Here's a gentleman that knows a lot about how the brain operates and very knowledgeable. So that is NeuroOne Medical Technologies CEO, Dave Rasa. How are you, Dave? Welcome to the show. Greatly appreciate you coming on and talking about NeuroOne. It's a very fascinating company. And, I was just talking to Dave and telling him how I actually suffered a brain injury. So, Dave, let us know a little bit about yourself and how you got into NeuroOne and became the CEO.
Yeah, and thanks for that introduction. I'm not sure I could top that or have ever had that energetic an introduction. So thanks. In terms of how I got involved, I was actually retired from working and was approached by an individual that claimed that he had spoken to me before years back about just getting some advice on fundraising for NeuroOne. And of course, as I get older, my memory gets worse. I did not remember meeting him, but I told him that I would be more than happy to help him. And, I had no intentions of actually going back to work, nor of really working with NeuroOne, because I'd spent most of my career in the cardiovascular space. But after about 9 months of doing diligence and investigating the technology in the space, I was really convinced that the opportunity here was much larger than what they had intended, which was purely a diagnostic device.
Wow, that's pretty fascinating. So you weren't even thinking about getting back to work, and now here all of a sudden you're the CEO of a big company here and making all kinds of crazy devices. Speaking about devices, what kind of devices does NeuroOne Medical Technologies build?
Yeah, so we make what are considered thin film electrodes, and I'm going to show you what they look like. But they're primarily used. There's three areas that we're really focusing on. One are brain-related neurological disorders, kind of like epilepsy. The second is pain management, and the third is drug delivery. I got to hold on to these devices because the airflow in my room is blowing them off my desk.
Wow.
This device is paper thin. It may be lighter than a feather, but this is one type of device that we make. And then this is the other, which is a wire-like device. And you may see little silver slivers on there. Those are the points on this electrode that actually record electrical activity, as well as allow us to stimulate through that or ablate any sort of nervous tissue.
Wow, that's pretty fascinating. So one of them is the one RF ablation system. Is that what that is?
That's
that
this
one
right here. That maybe I'm going to try to pull it a little further away. If you can see this, it actually goes into the brain vertically like this. And on average, there's probably about 15 of these devices that gets placed in a patient. And one of the cool things. This may be even harder to see. So this device, which looks very somewhat similar to the electrode, this is actually one of the features that really makes what we do highly differentiated. This is a temperature probe that actually fits into the back end. If I could see, I would put it in. But it goes down the center of the electrode. And when you want to ablate this tissue in the brain that's causing the seizures, this temperature probe prevents the temperature in the patient's brain from getting too high, which could cause charring in the brain. And, that could lead to other neurological issues that the patient would face. So that's one of the cool features of the device, is that we use temperature control as a safety mechanism.
Wow, that's fascinating. Never heard of that before. That's very interesting. And NeuroOne has multiple FDA 510K clearances. So what does that, to investors that really have no idea about what a 510K clearance means, what does that mean in a medical device?
It means less risk in getting your device cleared by the FDA. So uh, basically, when you submit a 510K application to the FDA, what you're basically telling the FDA is your device is similar to a technology they already approved. So, what's the difference between doing that and a large clinical trial? You're probably talking on average saving 5 to 7 years, as well as all the dollars associated, that would need to be invested to do studies and things like that. So this particular ablation device was actually cleared by the FDA in a little bit over 4 months from the time we submitted. So that's kind of unheard of,
Yeah.
today having it occur that quickly. But we were happy to get that clearance as soon as we did.
Absolutely. No, that's pretty fascinating that fast. They usually don't even look at it that fast, let alone approve it that quick. That's pretty impressive right there. So that's awesome. And you had talked about, just mentioned the three different areas that you are in. Facial pain. Is that an important area? Is there a big market for that? I know epilepsy, there's a large market, but it's not the biggest market. Is some of the pain management a bigger market than epilepsy, and your products work for that as well?
Yeah, great question. So, when you talk about pain management, just as a broad sector, it's incredibly large, the opportunity. Now, the first area into pain management is using this ablation device to be used to treat facial pain. So the doctor will insert this needle right about here in the face, which is where the trigeminal nerve is. They'll place this electrode in there. The device allows the neurosurgeon to find the area in the nerve that's triggering this pain. And let me tell you, trigeminal neuralgia, this facial pain, when you look at, the suicide rates, it's actually as high as 25%. They call it the suicide disease because it's excruciatingly painful. So it is an important device in our portfolio, but you're right. The market is estimated to be smaller than epilepsy. But you might say, well, Dave, why'd you waste time on this? And that's because the same doctor that performs the brain ablation procedures is the same doctor performing facial pain. So, so you're able to kind of piggyback both or the trigeminal neuralgia ablation system in when you're talking about brain ablation.
Oh, well, that's impressive. And you guys are partners with the Mayo Clinic, is that right?
Yeah, so the Mayo, this goes back to when I officially started with the company. The Mayo was the first investor in the company. And then we also had a business partnership with them that really stemmed from early work that we had done with some of the prominent neurologists there and neurosurgeons. They really were helpful early on in developing this particular technology. And really since that time, we've now brought them new technology, whether it's in drug delivery or this ablation technology. And they've been interested in testing all the devices, using it in the research. So we still have a really, really close partnership with them.
That sounds like a great partnership because they're huge, obviously, and that could obviously validate what you guys are doing. If the Mayo Clinic's using it, that kind of validates your, your tools and things of that nature, your products, and that's awesome. So NMTC, that's the stock ticker that NeuroOne Medical Technology trades under. It is a micro cap, and it is a catalyst-driven med tech stock. What are some of the most important catalysts you believe the market should be watching out for in this area?
Yeah, I really think there's a handful of areas, and one is obviously revenue. That's typically what investors measure the company on. So we actually showed in our fiscal year that we tripled our revenue from fiscal 24. We expect that business to continue to grow. And again, that's the business that Zimmer Biomet distributes for us. And then secondarily, with all these other programs we have 2 back pain programs that we're having discussions with other large strategic companies that are interested in partnering with us. And then drug delivery, another technology. So multiple shots on goal. And what you should be looking for there from a catalyst standpoint are actually sales of the device, at least initial sales of the device to pharma companies for use at least early on in animal studies. And then you should also look towards clinical results. So the brain ablation system we've been really excited with the results that we've been hearing in terms of seizure reduction and seizure elimination for patients. And because of that, we initiated a registry to track all these outcomes. And we are going to update the market on what those outcomes are over the course of 26.
Yeah, well, seizures are a hard thing to tackle and to really get down. I've had experience, not with seizures myself personally, but I've told the story. I've made a tincture in the cannabis industry to help prevent seizures, and it was tested on over 100 people. And yeah, it's probably one of the hardest things. It's very, very difficult. And I was looking up, obviously checking out the website. What you guys do is next level, amazing. I've never even seen technology or heard of technology like this with the electrodes and stuff that go in and go right to the neurons, and they're able to really, allow the surgeons to pinpoint exactly where they're going. It's fascinating. And again, I have a little bit of experience with a brain injury. I got hit, Dave. I got hit. I was helping a buddy fix a house, and we had the house jacked up in the air. I got hit with the 10-ton jack with the pressure of a 2-story house right here in my forehead, and somehow I survived. Don't ask me how. I'm pretty sure I was on the other side of life. I literally was floating through energy. Everything was dark, quiet, and peaceful. It was absolutely a miracle, and I've done multiple years of cognitive therapy, and that's how it brought me to do this show. I've been a big stock chart guy, and I was literally looking at stock charts in the hospital, and I think that was one of the reasons that kept my brain and was able to help me get to where I am. I do have a lot of cognitive issues and a lot of issues, don't get me wrong. But the fact that I'm not even a vegetable and I can sit here and have a conversation after what happened to me, and I couldn't for a while, it's fascinating. But yeah, I think that what you guys do is really next level, and helping people in that area, because, and seizures, I mean, one seizure, if you see somebody suffer a seizure, it is like, it's traumatizing, guys, depending on how serious they are. But I've known people, that's how I got into it as well, and started to help people. It was family people that I knew. That's how I got into helping people. And it was family and friends that were suffering from it. And yeah, it's just something so terrible to see. And the fact that you guys, NeuroOne, can actually help people, like, it's amazing, because you don't ever hear of any company being able to help anybody with seizures. They usually just throw a ton of different medication at it, and I'm sure the medication they give you is not exactly good for you. It usually ends up with tons of side effects. And yeah, just doing some research on your NeuroOne Medical Technologies company, I was completely blown away and impressed by what you guys are doing. So just wanted to say that. And you guys NeuroOne completed an equity finance in April 2025. It strengthened your near-term liquidity. How do you think about the future dilution risk and the capital efficiency?
Yeah, I think the risk is low. I mean, look, there's no guarantees in life. You never know what's going to happen, as you personally experienced. An incredible story there. But the last financing really positioned us very well from a financial standpoint. And we have no intentions, for sure, to raise capital in the near term. I mean, we've said that we're confident that we're funded at least through fiscal 2026. But there's a lot of upside in the company, in our plan. We haven't included revenues for trigeminal neuralgia. We haven't included any licensing fees or any agreements or any sales from any other technologies. So there's a good chance that at least one of the ventures that we're looking to partner with will bear, I'll say, some fruit. So there's a good chance that there will be upside to this plan that we haven't factored in. We usually take a pretty conservative approach especially when it comes to financing. But the other piece is, we've managed and spent our money very wisely, and that obviously also helps. So I would say the risk in the company today, as compared to 2 years ago, 3 years ago, is much less.
Well, and yeah, spending the money wisely is one of them things that's super important that a lot of people don't really understand how important it is to a company. A lot of people just think you could just go out and do anything you want and just spend whatever you want because you have, licensing deals and this thing and income. But yeah, I think actually your research and development and actually planning for the future is your most important thing for a company. That's what investors like to see. And speaking about retail investors, they obviously worry about warrants all the time. And so what's the current warrant picture, and how can we see what's going on with the warrants in the future?
Yeah, this is actually another point regarding risk of dilution. So today, what is the date today? January
January
13th.
13th. It'd be
Sorry,
nice if it was July. We'd all be
I
celebrating.
live in
4th of July.
Minnesota, so I'm wishing for
You're wishing for
warmer
July.
months. So today there's roughly about 6.4 million warrants that still remain, but tomorrow over 4 million of those will expire, and
Oh,
we
wow.
should have somewhere in terms of remaining warrants about 2.3 million. But the average exercise price of those remaining warrants is around $1.34. So from a warrant standpoint, we're going to see most of these warrants that are outstanding gone by the end of tomorrow.
Wow, that's impressive right there. So definitely be looking at that. And again, we're talking to the CEO of NeuroOne Medical Technologies, Dave Rosa. Is it Rosa or Rosa? I'm sorry.
It's Rosa, but
Rosa.
You can call me whatever you want. I don't
I
mind.
just wanted to get it right, make sure. But yeah, Dave, he definitely knows about the brain. That's for sure. Impressive stuff going on over there at NeuroOne. And when you look at the company 3 to 5 years out, where do you expect your largest revenue contribution to come from?
Yeah, I think when you look at devices we have in development, devices that are currently commercialized, I would say I'll call it the ablation business. And when you look at ablation, there's really three different areas that I'm referring to. One is the brain ablation system for epilepsy that we've already touched on. The second one is facial pain, for trigeminal neuralgia. And then we have, as part of our pain platform, an ablation system that utilizes the same electrode technology for lower back pain, and it's for ablation of the basivertebral nerve. It's a tough word to say, but it's a nerve that's in the spine in the lower back that can be the cause of lower back pain. So I think those three technologies will be the ones that drive the majority of the revenue. But the one that could really surprise us, in terms of performance, is the drug delivery technology. So I think investors should keep an eye out for progress that we make there. There's an opportunity for us to start selling devices for animal use to pharma companies when they develop their product. We actually have a portfolio of devices that will be used for smaller animals, which is usually where they start when they're testing their therapy, all the way up to devices for human use. So, be on the lookout for that in 2026, because, that could be a really pleasant surprise as it pertains to revenue.
Yeah, that sounds awesome right there. And what's the name of the one for the facial one? What is that called?
Yeah, so I'm going to turn my head. So right here, there's a nerve that kind of comes down here, right to about this point. It's called the trigeminal nerve because it's got three branches. And the technical term for facial pain that's caused by this is called trigeminal neuralgia.
Trigeminal neuralgia. Wow, that was
Yep.
pretty impressive. I was going to ask you how long it took you to be able to pronounce that, Dave. That's one of my things with my brain injury. I have a tough time pronouncing words and my and reading things. So yeah, when you said that, I was like, what? I couldn't even pronounce that word, but somehow I couldn't pronounce it right now just off the bat. I was able to say it right after you, but on my show they break down words for me like I'm 5 years old so that I could pronounce them. It's kind of hilarious, but yeah, it's weird. Is it not the oddest thing, like the differences that with different brain injuries, what different results and what people have? Like it seems like every brain injury seems to be a little bit different. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously some people have some things in common, but it can be just all over the place. Like my reading comprehension's not great. I was tested, had IQ tests and all them things. And yeah, and I have a lot of sensory issues now. But I mean, it was fascinating that I can hold conversations, do things, but I do get lost in conversation sometimes. But like when I sit in this chair and do my show, I end up in this weird zone. It's really hard to explain, and that's why I'm asking you. Have you ever heard of anything like this before? Because I kind of described it to my neurologist and everybody else, and they look at me like I am completely insane. They think I'm nuts for even being alive. So the fact that yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, I was going to say, the part about being alive, I have to agree with them on. God was watching over you that day, so you're lucky. But these brain injuries are complicated. So what's working in your favor is your age. And I've was told this for years that the younger you are, the greater the capacity to recover from injuries like this. So that's another thing that's working in your favor. But it also depends too on which areas of your brain were impacted, and that kind of dictates what some of the issues that remain that you're having. So if it's in an area of the brain that controls speech, you might recover to a certain extent, but you could suffer from speech issues. And if it's multiple areas of your brain, could be vision, could be motor skills, all that contributes to this. I don't want to call them the side effects, but the neurological issues that kind of remain. And I know many people that have had brain injuries in different areas that's affected them in different ways. And sometimes it seems like they're perfectly fine, and other times it seems like they struggle. So
Yeah, that's so weird that you say that because, like I said, I can sit in this chair. I'm in the zone. I can just do a show. I do it twice a day. I really think I call it my cognitive therapy. It's like it's impressive. It's amazing for me. I can't stop doing it. To be honest, I can tell the difference when I don't do it. But my wife can tell the difference. I mean, we've been together for a long time, and she can clearly no. She'll be talking to me, and I just look like I'm lost in space. I never used to look like that, and it's just like I don't even comprehend what's going on around me. Sometimes it's the most bizarre thing ever. And like I say, like I I chopped off my ring finger, the tip of my ring. It grew back in 3 weeks. That was pretty impressive too. Yeah, crazy stuff. In the summertime, in July, actually, I was riding my go-kart. I dropped my phone. I put my phone down. I got caught in the chain as I was moving full speed. It cut it all the way down to the bone. And yeah, I used to be able to do these things, and now it's just like I get lost in the moment. I have no idea what's going on, and I do stupid things like that. So I had to stop doing dangerous things, and I said, well, I'll just sit here and do this show because I can't really keep pressing my luck. I mean, how many times can I get lucky? It's kind of crazy, but yeah, it is kind of weird that you say that because I do find myself sometimes I'm just in the zone, and then sometimes I'm completely zoned out, and just kind of bizarre with brain injuries. I'm sure you hear the most craziest stories in the field that you do. That's why I'm bringing these things up.
Not uncommon, actually, what you're saying. So
well, yeah, it's wild. So interesting stuff. So you guys had reported your Q4 full fiscal year 2025 results in December. So anyone that had missed that call, what were the highlights of that call, if you could break them down?
Sure. So in short, it was really the best year in the history of the company. I mentioned earlier that our revenues tripled from fiscal 2024. So that was obviously exciting. Our margins exceeded 50%. If you were to go back over time, they were typically closer to 30%. So we saw significant improvements in margins as well. We received another FDA clearance, which is our fourth since we started the company, and hopefully there'll be many more after that. But that was for the facial pain technology. That was probably the main highlights from our last call.
Very nice. So you do 3 times your revenue over the last year, year over year. Does that mean that you have a bigger Christmas party for the employees or bonuses?
Yeah, somebody actually asked me about that.
I'm
In the
not the only
company.
person.
They said, "Does this mean we're going to go to Vegas and have some fun?" And I said, "No, we're not going to go to Vegas and have some fun unless it's to do some cases."
Yeah, I
So
would expect Vegas, but maybe like, a little bit of an upscale party that we haven't had. But, again, you spend the money wisely. So that's why you're saying no way, guys.
I was going to say I might spring for pizza
There you
for the
go.
company, but I think we would have to limit it to that.
That's hilarious. That's too funny. So, yeah. So, guys, we're speaking to NeuroOne Medical Technologies CEO Dave Rosa right here, and we're going to just find out a couple more things. If for retail investors considering this today, NMTC, that is the stock ticker. Where are your top 3 reasons do you believe in the next few years it would be a super exciting time for this company? And I know you touched on a few things, but anyone just tuning in.
Yeah, I would say, the pipeline that I talked about is clearly exciting. I mean, to have, I'll say 3 major shots on goal, right? The brain business, the pain business, drug delivery. Most companies that are smaller have one technology for one application. We've got a true platform technology that can really cross a number of areas. It's very exciting for us at the point we are with all these technologies. And I really think that that's one thing that investors should consider. And with the progress we've made, we've had growing strategic interest. I think investors should, keep an eye out for any potential additional partnerships. The other interesting thing is as we go out and talk to customers, neurosurgeons about facial pain and brain ablation, one of the areas that they ask us about and are very excited about is drug delivery, because many of these neurosurgeons are the ones that are participating in these gene therapy trials for, brain related issues like epilepsy and Parkinson's disease. And they're very excited about the technology, not just for that, but they believe that our drug delivery system could also offer advantages for patients that suffer from glioblastomas, which we probably all know someone who's had, a cancerous brain tumor. And these glioblastomas, they come back, and they're deadly tumors. And to have oncology neurosurgeons, tell us that they think our device could improve treatment for patients is really exciting. So I think those are the things that people should keep an eye out for because these are, extremely large markets. And in all these markets, our philosophy is the same. We've got to offer something that's unique and that offers advantages over existing therapies to both patients as well as physicians.
So how many patents do you actually own?
I think in terms of patents that are either in process or that have been granted, it's 17.
Wow, that's impressive. Yeah, that's amazing. So is there anything that we didn't cover that you would like to tell everybody out there? Because I think we did cover a lot of stuff here. I mean, I'm telling you, I'll be watching NMTC NeuroOne Medical Technologies because I go over stock charts. That's what I do. I was looking at it last night. So I'll be keeping our my listeners and fans up to date on it, that's for sure. But anything that we did not cover that you would like to touch on?
No, I think we covered, really all the key points of the company. If you wanted to hear about my pain issues, back pain, we could talk about that, but I'm not sure anybody wants to hear about that.
You'd be surprised. People are fascinated by all kinds of crazy stuff. But I have a quick question for you, though. I had mentioned cannabis and seizures. I'm sure you've heard plenty of. What are your thoughts about the cannabis with seizures? Since you kind of you're not a pharmaceutical company by no means. You have like a what would you consider it I don't know what you can say. Like it's like a tool almost. What you guys have, it's a fascinating thing because it's got electrodes that it's like wired up. It's not like just an implant that you'd put into somebody
Right.
that that's why I struggled to call it. Like I want to call it the right thing because it seems to be way more upscale than just your normal devices. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, we consider ourselves a medical device company, but with technology that can cross over into the pharma space that can actually help pharma companies deliver, their therapies. And in terms you brought up cannabis, I've actually had discussions with neurologists and neurosurgeons about the use of cannabis for patients that have seizures, and it's not, I wouldn't consider it in the same category as, our device where, the intention is to either dramatically reduce or eliminate seizures altogether. I've even had families tell me that after the surgery is performed, it's kind of like a complementary therapy that helps the patient even more. Sometimes it's just like an added benefit to take the edge off even after surgery has been done. So it's I would say it's fairly common for patients that have gone through the surgery to also use that as well.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that, and I contribute that to probably saving my life as well. I'm a cannabis guy, and like I said, I made it 10, but you're absolutely right. They're two different things, and I understand seizures in that sense, but what you guys are doing is just next level NeuroOne Medical Technologies. Yeah, your product is absolutely amazing. When I saw it, I was like, wow, I've never seen anything like this, and this is quite impressive. And so yeah, it was great talking to you, Dave Rosa, and I would hope that you can keep us up to date on what's going on in the company. I would love to hear what's going on, and a bunch of people are chiming in on the feed over here. I guess people have some questions, but I'm going to let you go because I know you're busy over there and you have another call to take. So thank you so much for your time. Real quick, this interview is a paid promotional segment. The information discussed in the interview is for educational and informational purpose only and should not be considered financial advice, investment advice, or recommendation to buy or sell any securities. And again, this is the CEO of NeuroOne Medical Technologies, Dave Rosa. I can't thank you enough for coming on. Greatly appreciate it. And I would, like I said, love to talk to you again and keep us up to date on the company. I'll keep my listeners up to date on NMTC. That is the stock ticker, guys. So we'll be checking that out. And thanks, Dave. Have a great night, and I will talk to you soon.
Thank you so much, too. I really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Thank you, Dave. I'll talk to you.
Bye.
Bye. All right, everybody, I'm going to hop off of this stream, and then we're going to hop on to the new stream and do the night show in 30 minutes. So I'll see you guys in a half hour. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Michael Anthony, Laptop Travel, and everybody, Luis Rodriguez. I see you guys. I'll see you guys in 30 minutes, all right? So hop on the new one. I'll post out the link, or you'll see it up.